And Alyssa Orange joining us here for a usual Tuesday hit. Pig Trail Nation anchor and contributor here on ESPN Arkansas. Alyssa, good to hear you. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Doing well. How are you?
Doing really good.
Doing well.
Very well. How was the trip up to Kansas City? I saw on your Twitter feed you visited the Negro Leagues Museum and you got some Dodgers that came to visit at the same time. Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So I've always wanted to go to that museum. So we go, and it's me and my dad and my stepmom flew in from Virginia, and Ben, Bella, and Sawyer, and we're going through the museum, which isn't very big, and you can kind of start inside this film. Well, my 1.5-year-old daughter just lost her mind, and I had to take her out and hold her in the lobby, and so I missed like the entire museum because she's just upset and angry. And anyways, I'm sure parents can relate. So we're standing in the lobby, and I think people in our industry just pick up on things that most people don't because of what we do. And so I see a guy walking around with a camera, and he's got an LA logo on his polo, and I'm thinking to myself, I think he shoots for the team. I think the team is coming. And so I'm like sitting out in the lobby waiting, and then Saul comes out, and it's me, Saul, and Bella in the lobby. And next thing I know, the guy picks up his camera, walks to the front door, a bus pulls up, and out walks Dave Roberts, and then out walks Clayton Kershaw, and, out walks Trace Thompson, and it was just really, really cool. And of course, I'm fangirling inside, but at the same time, I'm around athletes so much that I know how to compose myself. By this point, my stepmom had come out, and she was losing it too, and I was like, "You need to calm down." And so my dad was still inside, so I texted him, and I was like, "Clayton Kershaw just walked in," and my dad's like, "What?" So it was really cool, though. It was really just really neat. And again, we work around so many athletes, and we're around so many athletes that, you don't, they're around every day. They're just everyday people to us. But to see like Dave Roberts and Clayton Kershaw, it kind of took me back to a little bit of that fandom that I have that you sometimes lose in this industry. It was really neat.
Absolutely. We talked about that in the last segment because this Isaiah Jarvis, the little leaguer that consoled the pitcher that hit him on the head, went national, and he got a chance to meet his favorite player on Zoom out of the blue the other day, and it's Jalen Battles. I feel like there's going to be some of that feeling going on at Arvest Ballpark for this next week, because you know how Kevin Kopps is coming in with the San Antonio Missions. He's been with the Missions all season long as a reliever, and he's had a decent year. Not dominant, but he's been good against professional hitters. I'm assuming he'll pitch once, maybe twice during this 6-game series with the Naturals, and it's like, I mean, he's a hero to, I think, thousands of young ball players across Northwest Arkansas where he'll be playing. So I think you're going to get a lot of those same sort of wide-eyed stares when Kevin walks onto the field.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, think how people are reacting with Isaiah Campbell at the Travelers right now, right? Like, and then multiply that by 100. He's back in Northwest Arkansas for the first time. Maybe they'll play Heat Wave. We'll see when he takes the mound. And we're going to have an opportunity to catch up with Kevin this afternoon before that series starts with the Naturals, and just really looking forward to talking to him about how his career is going and how the pros are treating him. And again, he is someone that outside of maybe Andrew Benintendi coming back, that's the kind of fanfare you're going to get with Kevin Kopps and what he means to Arkansas fans. And, he's also a guy who's going to stay there all night long and sign autographs if he needs to for all these fans who are coming back to support him. So apologies to the Naturals. You might have some San Antonio Missions fans in the field or in the crowd just because of Kevin Kopps.
Every once in a while, this happens in the Texas League, and it won't be Benny never played in the Texas League because the Red Sox didn't have a team in that organization. But Brett Eibner played for Northwest Arkansas. Brian Walker played for the Travelers. Isaiah Campbell's there with the Travelers. Even going back 22 years, Kevin Burns, Jason Stevens, who were some good players on some of the last few teams that Norm coached. They came through, but it's like Kopps is at a different level. He's at a different level. I mean, he won the Golden Spikes Award. It's different than Eibner. It's different than anybody else. And Eibner was a first-round pick. So I don't know. There's just something about Kevin that that's probably feels weightier, heavier than the other players that have come through this league.
Sure. Well, the Naturals put out a press release talking about Kevin Kopp's coming back, and he doesn't play for them. So I think that kind of speaks volumes, too. And, Arkansas fans have kind of been a little spoiled. You had Lyle Lockhart, who came over because he's with the Drillers. And then I was looking at the schedule, had Jack Spiggers and Dominic Fletcher not gotten moved up, they would have come here as well and made stops in Northwest Arkansas. So there's some guys right now that you can see who are former Razorbacks, and maybe, hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll get Caden Wallace here in Arkansas. But it's really cool to see these guys again once their Arkansas careers are over, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be dumb for the Naturals not to make a public statement about it, because name of the game is ticket sales in minor league baseball. Nobody really cares about your record. They just want to put butts in the seats. And while Arkansas players are very liked and, everybody wants them to succeed, another group of people that I don't know if I've ever met that I disliked is an offensive line coach. Like, O-line coaches are crazy. They're the best to interview because they'll say anything. They'll use analogies. And Cody Kennedy is in that group. God. I mean, how enjoyable is it to listen to him talk about his craft?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's so fun. I was listening to his press conference this morning when I was getting ready and coming into work because I've been working on my Ryan Mallett piece yesterday, so I missed it. And he's just so much energy. I mean, even when he sits there and he talks, his voice is just, he talks like a football coach. He is excited like a football coach. He's an O-line coach who's like, yeah, we're getting in there and we're doing this. This is great. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it pumps you up. And you guys remember when Sam was here. I mean, we loved Sam Pittman because he would walk into the press conference, sit down, take his shoes and socks off, and talk to us and ask us about our days before he jumped into press conferences. And that's just kind of what you expect and get out of O-line coaches because they're fun and they're boisterous. And I will have to say, Cody Kennedy lives about catty corner and a house up from me. So I see him and his fiance Lauren walking their dogs frequently, and he's just a nice guy. And that's what's so cool is, man, like Cody Kennedy is just a cool dude. Alyssa,
would you be allowed to speak to Cody Kennedy during the season if you just saw him on a neighborhood street? Because the assistant coaches are never made available to the media. Are you allowed to go up and start talking?
Well, if I ask him, how's the grass growing today? I don't know. So maybe. I mean, I can say hello. I actually have 3 assistants who live on our street, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy, and we see them all the time. And they're all super nice. I have a funny story for you. We were over the summer. He hosted a lunch or dinner at the house for some of the O-line. And I'm standing in my kitchen washing the dishes and doing some dishes, and I have a window to the road above my sink. And all of a sudden, I see a dog just run down the street. And then I'm like, what is going on? I hear all this commotion, and I walk out my front door, and the whole offensive line group is running down the street, running after this dog. Then they jump in their trucks. They're like, we got to get this dog. And they're like driving around trying to get this dog. And I was like, oh, I wonder how many offensive lines it's going to take to find this dog. Okay.
Yeah, that
is great.
This is not a story that any other media member would be able to relate. You take advantage of your situation when you're a media member and you have access restricted to certain people that you like to ask questions. Yeah. Who knew that the most important part was living in the same neighborhood as them?
Yeah, it's not bad. No, it doesn't suck.
I'm sure it doesn't, and that's exactly what the hype around this offensive line is. That they don't suck. That the talent is back, and Cody Kennedy talked about the leadership and everything that he has with these returning starters, and this just feels like a buildup for Arkansas to repeat as SEC leading rushers, right? So like everything is just falling into place. Besides the Dominique Johnson injury, which we still don't know if it's 1 week, could possibly be 2. It just feels like the ground game, even though we've been talking a lot about receivers for the last week, the ground game is just so set up to succeed.
Yeah, I think so. And, Cody Kennedy talked about it yesterday where he's talking, like I came in here and it's like in June, took over as the O-line coach, and it's like Rosetta Stone. A lot of these guys are just learning a new language and learning new calls. And He's like, that's the learning curve, year one. Then you go to year two, and these guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're so much better than they were years ago just on that fact. And then he also, tipped his cap to Barry Odom, because I know Barry Odom has talked about, they have just blitz in the spring and throughout practice. And he was like, look, I mean, I love it, because there is not a call that I haven't made this fall camp and in the spring. So my guys have seen everything. They know the lingo. They know everything. And when you're already at a point where the guys have confidence on the field because they know the calls, they've seen every call, and they've seen every position they're going to play. You talked about this too. That's going to build confidence. And that's what you need from your offensive line, is confidence. And it's a trickle-down effect. It's like a domino. If the offensive line is being successful, the running game will be successful. KJ Jefferson will be successful. The wide receivers will be successful. And you ask any wide receiver, pro, former pro, college guy, the most important people to them on the team is the offensive line, because that quarterback's not getting you the ball if they're on their back. So these guys definitely know how important they are, and according to Cody Kennedy, they're practicing really well right now.
Certainly left tackle was a position that we didn't know who the starter would be, but it does appear that it will be Luke Jones. I don't think he'd be put in front of the media yesterday if he hadn't come close to securing that left tackle position. Mm-hmm. Here's what he said about playing every position so far on the offensive line in his career.
It's more of like you're on an island, one-on-one, more one-on-one scenarios. Then in the inside, it's more moving people on the outside. You got to be better with your hands and your feet. But I think it's been a great experience for me to go from center to guard to tackle to guard to center, playing all 5 of those spots.
I mean, what it reminds me of, Alyssa, it reminds me of Ty Clary. He played every single position on the offensive line for Arkansas last year. Now, I'm not telling you Luke Jones is going to do that, but if you need a Swiss Army knife on this line, I think he's your man.
And that's what you need. You need guys who know how to play guard and left and guard and right guard and left guard and tackle and center. But then you need that guy who can play all of them, who can play 4 or 5, or 3 or 4 of them. And Luke Jones can be that guy. And I'm correct. And he transferred in from Notre Dame, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's from Little Rock, transferred in from Notre Dame, and so he's got a lot of football under his belt too. So. It's good to have a guy like him who you can go to, who has worked his butt off this fall to earn a starting spot. But that also, Cody Kennedy, if a guy's down and he's got to make some moves, you can put him in there, and he's seen it before and he's got confidence. Because he even said yesterday, I'm not putting a guy in there if they've never seen that position before. So that's exactly what you want in this cross-training. You want guys who are really good at what they do, but also guys who just understand and can see the football field the way that Luke Jones does at every single position.
Real quick, Alyssa, what were your thoughts on Arkansas coming in at 19 in the preseason AP?
That was great. I think it's also deserved too. I mean, we've talked about this throughout the summer. Is you're just seeing that respect be a national respect, and not just in the state of Arkansas, or maybe within SEC coaches because they played Arkansas last year, or just the SEC West. Like, the nation is starting to take notice that, hey, Arkansas got something going, and they've got a lot of tools: a returning quarterback, some wide receivers who are showing some talent, a defensive secondary that's added more speed, and I think it's just a well-deserved honor for Coach Pittman and this team and how hard that they've worked. Now, it's preseason, and everyone will say, it's preseason, it doesn't matter. But it does matter when you deserve that recognition, and I believe that they have earned that recognition. Some teams, and people talk about this all the time, are they a team that got ranked wherever they're ranked because of their brand, or are they ranked because of their talent? And obviously right now, the answer is very clear. This is Arkansas and the talent and what Sam Pittman is doing. They deserve to be ranked where they are.
No doubt. Well said, Alyssa. We'll leave it there. Thanks as always for your time. Do it again next week.
You are the best, guys. Talk to you then.
Appreciate it.
You're the best, Alyssa. Just had to say it. Just because.
Because it's true.
Yeah, I don't think, if you're going to say that you get ranked based on a brand, yes, there are a lot of teams that get ranked based on a brand. Arkansas doesn't have a brand just yet. 1 year of success, 9 wins, doesn't necessarily brand you, to the nation just yet.
Get to 5. I'd say 5, and then you can start to get that home cooking.
So then they're based on talent right now, at least. And part of it is what you did last year. That's a major part of it, what you did last year.
Is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.